Hello there, my name is Kelsey and this is Igniting Insight. This series is Mystical Moons, where we look at the full moon and the new moon every month. And I give you a little bit of an energy update, look at the astrological transits happening now, and pull a few cards to do a little intuitive reading. This is the very first video in this series and one of the very first videos of this channel. So if you are here watching this right around the end of 2018 when this content is being released, thank you so much for tuning in. If you could give me a like, comment, and subscribe if this content resonates with you, I would really appreciate it. I have felt called to just start sharing this information. Making videos like this has been something I've wanted to do for a long time, but just recently felt like the right time to start. I also have an Instagram where I post more regular energy updates. If you're interested in checking that out, I will post a link down below. Okay, so we're gonna get started. This is the full moon in Cancer happening on December 22nd at 9:46 a.m. Pacific Standard Time at 0 degrees of Cancer. So that's the very beginning of the sign, and what this tells me is that it's going to be a very potent full moon, and I have been having this funny slip of tongue where I keep calling it a new moon, and I think that's because at 0 degrees, it feels like we are starting something new. We also have the North Node in Cancer that recently moved there. So we have a lot of new energy going towards tuning into our emotional selves, our feminine side, kind of getting in tune with that spiritual mother, that nurturing energy, Mother Earth energy. Looking at our inner child needs, tuning into our intuition a lot more, and seeking out and seeing the importance of our relationships. I think all of those things are very good points of focus for this full moon. Full moons are when the moon is biggest and brightest in the sky, so it's all about illumination, and it's also about releasing and letting go. It's the biggest fullest point of the moon before we start shedding back, before it starts going, getting smaller and smaller and going back into the new moon phase 2 weeks later. So I definitely think this is a great time to be with people we're close to, people we feel comfortable sharing our deeper selves with. It's a great time to get tuned into your intuition. Ideally at new moons, which we had a new moon in Sagittarius 2 weeks ago, that's the time of kind of the true new beginnings, when we should kind of be setting goals, making plans, deciding what we'd like to accomplish during the next moon phase. So whatever you've been working on for the past 2 weeks, this is a great time to look back and reflect, release anything that's keeping you from that, decide if your goals still resonate, and anything that doesn't, let that shed away, and really nurture ourselves through being with others, through our relationships, and also being with our emotional bodies, and just allowing our deeper selves to be seen and heard by ourselves, if that makes sense. I know that we all have busy lives and it's not always easy to find time to tune in, but if you can find a moment, I would say it's a good time to tune in with yourself as well as find community. I think that we each need to find our own balance between doing internal work and being with others. I did want to talk a little bit about the aspects it's making. Today I'm filming the 21st of December, right before the full moon on the solstice, so the sun has just moved into Capricorn, and that's where it's opposing the moon in Cancer, and the moon is making a trine with Uranus in Aries, and Uranus is all about change and upheaval, and I believe it's going direct now, but it's been dipping back into Aries after moving into Taurus around May, I believe. So when we have a planet that has changed signs and then in retrograde returns back to the previous sign, that usually indicates kind of a little bit of cleanup of those energies that we were experiencing. This has been kind of a long transit, this retrograde. The kind of jump back into Aries has been a few months. I think that Uranus spends about 7 years in each sign, if I'm not mistaken. So it's a long journey for this planet to go. So when it goes retrograde, it kind of just does a quick dip back into a planet. Even that is kind of a long time. What I got for this aspect is that being that this is a supportive aspect, the trine is a supportive aspect, we might be transforming the way we express emotion, and we might experience some boosts in intuition. We have the planet of change and upheaval in the planet of self-assurance and forward movement. So I think that with the moon being at 0 degrees Cancer, we're going to have some of that kind of radical changing energy behind our emotions and intuition and what we do with that. So this is the kind of energy that, while it's a positive aspect, for some of us it might feel a little bit too pushy, or especially talking about, I'll just go ahead and talk about the next aspect we have, because this one even more ties into what I'm about to say. We have a square to Mars that is in conjunction with Chiron in Pisces. So squares are all about friction, having no common ground between the two signs. And to me, this suggests a call to balance. So when we have squares, it's up to us to find the balance between these two energies, whether that's within your natal chart or whether that's within the transiting collective energies like we have right now. And Mars gives us an energy of assertion, of, again, forward movement. It's the masculine energy, it's the drive energy. And Chiron represents the wounded healer. So we, depending on our relationship with our deepest wounds, we could be feeling a lot of anger towards our pain, or it's in the sign of Pisces, which is all about dreams, fantasy, spirituality. So we could be maybe getting too into fantasies, maybe into some addictions if we are avoiding our emotions. So this is one place where astrology can really help us see the energies in a kind of non-biased external way, and help us reflect on how we are interacting with that and where we might have room to grow. So I would encourage you to use this energy to make forward movement in your healing, to get more in tune with your feelings, to understand how those deep wounds, we're talking about childhood wounds, deep childhood wounds, past life wounds, our deepest wounds, and having some energy behind our healing. And especially being in Pisces, I think our energy is coming from our emotions and our intuition, not our emotions, but our intuition and our spirituality. So we can kind of tune into these higher powers right now and feel a lot of passion for doing this healing work. And the moon in square to this kind of energy means that we're going to have to balance our desire to feel comfortable, to feel homey, to feel safe, nurtured. Cancer is all about feeling, and so it depends on how well developed we are, how deeply we want to feel. If we are able to feel more deeply, we're able to do more deep work. But wherever you are in this cycle, this is really a time about nurturing our soul, nurturing our inner child, nurturing our just soul level needs, what we need on a soul level, on an emotional level. This is not a time to be logical and beat yourself up over why you might be feeling a certain way. This is a time to just allow yourself to feel whatever you're feeling. Yeah, so... And I also think it's a time to reflect on our inner balance between the masculine and the feminine. When we have these interactions between the moon in its home sign of Cancer, all of this feminine energy, and planets in the sign of Aries and Mars making aspects to this moon, there's kind of a dance between the masculine and feminine here, and it's calling us to find a balance. So if you are interested, the other video that I'm hoping to post at the same time as this one is about twin flames, balancing your masculine and feminine energy in the current time, what the energies were telling me. It was a reading I did, so if you're interested in checking that out, I'll link it down below, or you can go to my channel and find it, and that will kind of give hopefully more insight about how you might be balancing these masculine and feminine energies within yourself right now. So with all of that said, and I do hope everything made sense and resonated with you, I'm going to go ahead and get into the reading. We're going to do a 6-card spread to just look at the energies here. I will be just using my Rider-Waite, I believe. I might dive into this other deck, the Wild Unknown Tarot, I believe. And then we're going to pull a healing card from this... what is it called? Let me see here. Whispers of Healing, Oracle Cards by Angela Hartfield and artwork by Josephine Wall. I'm going to, of course, link my deck's information down below if anyone has questions about what I have. I've pre-shuffled everything, I've meditated, I've cleared the air with sage, and I'm going to go ahead and call in my higher self, spirit guides, angels, ascended masters, to come into the room and use me and these cards as a vessel for your message. When I am ready to begin asking questions is when I will start selecting the cards that are already trying to fall out right now. I do want to make sure I'm really focused on the questions at hand and the energy we are looking, or the questions we want to have answered right now. So the first question here is regarding the time and energy of this full moon in Cancer. What has been created? What have we manifested in our lives since the new moon 2 weeks ago? What has been created? What have we manifested since the new moon? Page of Cups. I'm going to pull all cards and then we'll talk about it. So where are we now is the next question. I'm not taking reversals for this reading, just I'm not feeling it intuitively. The Sun. So what's coming into awareness? Four of Cups. What's no longer serving us? They keep coming out in pairs, but I'm just taking one each, so whatever's on top. So 5 of Cups. ways we can release and let go of these energies. This is actually a format spread that I found from Biddy Tarot. I actually just looked this up because I had recorded this reading prior, but for various reasons I wasn't happy with the quality, and I just didn't feel that the energy was quite there, so I wanted to try to redo it. And I did a different type of spread, so this is the first time I'm doing this spread, but that's okay. I think that as long as we know what questions we're asking, we can tune into the energies all the same. My take anyway. So additional resources for helping us release these old energies. What are some additional resources to help us release? There's some additional resources for this full moon in Cancer to help us release. I always like to let the cards fall out, so I don't tend to draw them unless I have to, because I just sense the energies are a little bit more active, forward moving, coming out when they fall out themselves. Have to wait a while for this last one. I'll draw if I have to. And I'm also probably just gonna edit out the part where you guys are waiting forever, so I don't feel too bad about just shuffling forever. Okay. That's interesting. I think I'm gonna need to get a clarifier for that, but we'll draw those after. So what has been created and manifested since the new moon? Page of Cups. This is an emotional offer. This page is a lighthearted page. The fish is a symbol for life. Kind of, you know, looking at the health of our waters when we have lots of fish there, symbolizes life. And so there's been, I would just say, simply some new emotions, possibly a new relationship, possibly a new friendship with someone that maybe understands you better at an emotional level, or it's just an overall sense of being a little bit more connected emotionally. And this has been what we have manifested since the new moon. So if you've been feeling at all the energies that I've been feeling the past couple weeks, there's been a lot of purging energy, especially for the feminines, I think. So it could be that we're feeling a little more secure emotionally now. That we're feeling a little bit more open, a little bit less like we're drowning in our feelings, and a little bit more ready to kind of receive them and look at them as they are. Where we are now is the sun, which is so nice. So we are feeling illuminated, we are feeling light, we are feeling abundance and growth and nourishment, we're feeling our innocence. We are feeling positive about the future. I think 2018 has been a difficult year for a lot of people. It was what I've kind of been hearing around, and so hopefully we have some optimism to go into this full moon in the new year with. What's coming to our awareness is what's being offered now. We have the Four of Cups, and usually this card has an energy of being stuck in the past, only looking at what we have in front of us, feeling a sense of lack. But since this question is what is coming to awareness, it's suggesting that we're not quite there yet, but possibly when the full moon hits and maybe a few days afterwards, we're going to have this new, we're going to be able to accept this new offering. It could be a relationship, an offering in a relationship, offering of maybe some emotional truth. an upgrade in our intuitive abilities, or just something maybe new and tangible in our lives that makes us feel more secure, feel better, feel more positive, fills up our cup, so to speak. That kind of energy. The thing that's no longer serving us is this grief, is kind of this I don't want to underplay anything that we've gone through, because it's been a really intense emotional time, but it's time to stop crying over the spilled milk is what this card is telling me. It's time to stop crying over what you've lost, stop looking at the past, and realize that this guy, he's always had these two cups behind him. He still has resources, but he's crying over what he's lost. He's not even looking at the things he still has. And it's going right from the four of cups to the 5 of cups. So here's the offering, and we need to just stop looking at the past, stop looking at the things we've lost, and it's time to finish our grieving. Full moons, as I've said, they're all about letting go. So we may have been doing some grieving, doing some intentional purging of emotions these last few weeks, and now is the time to kind of wrap that up and let things really fall away. Something that can help us release, let go of this old energy, these old feelings, is the Wheel of Fortune. The Wheel of Fortune is kind of everything together. It symbolizes the potential that we have in each moment. So I think that really staying optimistic is important, realizing that while we might still feel some grief, some sorrow over the things that we have lost, and I don't want to sound like I'm not encouraging you to be with your emotions and to feel through everything that you need to feel through when I say that it's time to let go of those past emotions. When I say let go, I do mean to feel through them. I don't mean to ignore them. I want that to be very clear. So the Wheel of Fortune is giving us support in our optimism, in our ability to look to the future and see limitless possibilities, to realize that there are possibilities for our life that we can't even foresee yet. There's possibilities for our life that we've never dreamed of. We can go in directions that will make us more happy, more fulfilled than we ever could have thought possible. And that's the kind of energy that's going to bring us out of this grief, is really our ability to look forward with a new sense of, with kind of new eyes, with a new sense of purpose and new beginnings. And additional resources for releasing, this is an interesting card for this placement. We have the 5 of Swords, which is typically about selfishness, but when we're reading, we need to take it. It's actually interesting how tarot and astrology are kind of similar, because when you're asking questions and you have certain placements for things, then you have to interpret the energy of each card through that placement. Just like in astrology, you have to interpret each planet through its sign and house, its placement in the chart. I just think it's interesting how tarot and astrology are similar that way, and I never thought about it before. But anyway, we have this additional resource, which isn't about necessarily being selfish in a way that's taking from others, in a way that is unbalanced, but being selfish in a way that we're taking care of ourselves, we're taking care of our needs, we are taking what we need. And I don't want you to be like him exactly, but I think all energies have their place, and when we put a positive spin on something like selfishness, we're looking at taking care of ourselves, self-care, giving ourselves what we need. And I think it even could speak to nourishing ourselves. So to help you let go of the past emotions, old ways of being, and any kind of negativity, it's important to look forward with optimism, to realize the unlimited potential of life, and to give yourself what you need and take care of yourself. And don't be afraid. Don't actually feel selfish for doing that, because you're not being selfish when you're taking care of yourself. You're actually helping other people by taking care of yourself so that you can serve other people with energy that is full, not energy that is depleted. So taking care of yourself is super important. So that's just the overall energies I'm feeling for this moon, and we're going to take one of these cards and see some direction for our healing, for what's going to help us really be intentional about our healing around this time of the full moon in Cancer. And I feel like I've definitely said new moon several times. I'm telling you, it's been happening like constantly. So let's just go ahead and grab a card here. Okay, we have positive-minded people. So I'll show you the card here. Hopefully you can see. This is a beautiful card. I love the artwork of Josephine Wall. I actually have a framed puzzle that I did of hers on my wall. It's great. So we are definitely being called to be with others in this full moon. Positive-minded people, like I said, people that we feel nurtured by, people that we feel listened to by, people that are here to hold space for us. We hold space for each other, and to encourage each other, and to be understanding that we're all going through a very deep process if we allow ourselves to, and that sharing these kind of deeper sides of ourselves shouldn't be something that we're shying away from. So as much as you can, be with people like this. Find the positive-minded people in your life and share some time and space with them. All right, so that is the reading. I really hope this resonated. If it did, let me know. Again, I will be here regularly, so please do engage with the channel. I would love to hear from you and engage right back. I hope you guys all have a wonderful full moon, and I'm sending you all my love, and I will see you in my next video. Thank you so much. Namaste.